Let's call this meeting to order of the Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee. First order of business is approval of the minutes. We have January 12th, 2023, January 24th, 2023, and February 9th, 2023. Can I have a motion on the floor, please? Linda, and second by Betty. Are there any changes, corrections, comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay, moving on. We don't have much on the agenda today. We just have informational items. We will start with the January 2023 Accounts Payable Review. Julie, welcome.
Good afternoon. For those of you who I'm still familiar face, I'm Julie Custerin. I work in finance. I'm the assistant CFO. Before you have the invoices that were paid in January. The format has changed just a little slightly per request from your chair lady, who had asked to have a little bit more information in the report. So what you have in there is the fund that the invoices are paid from, the department, the program. So within each department, we have programs to kind of define what the expenses are for, a little more than just very general. And then the account description, so what account did they pay that for? That kind of helps to explain it. And then the invoice description. So we have that. That's everything that we would have looked through and approved in January for payment. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay, go ahead, Linda.
First, I just want to say how much I love this presentation.
Good.
I mean, I could spend hours going over each one of these items, and it is really nice and provides a ton of information that at least I didn't have before. I wanted to ask a question about something I read here. It says that we paid $5,601.20, and this was for Headington Oaks.
Okay.
What are we paying there? I thought we didn't own the building.
Do you know that? Yeah. Okay, great.
If you'll recall, sorry, this is Heather. If you'll recall, we have a consultant working on the Medicaid accounts for us.
Okay.
So that's a good portion of that. There was also a broken window at the building earlier, and the invoice had just come through. So some of these invoices aren't from January,
Right.
most of them. They're
Right.
from October, November, December that we're cycling through. So that's a majority of what that
Well, I was thinking
was
that the
for.
notation said service maintenance, and that maybe it didn't. Maybe I read too many
okay.
things.
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure.
that's why I couldn't figure out what it was.
Yep.
And then my only other question is, when it says reducing the payment of recurring vendor expenses paid on P cards that are also paid by check by other departments, what does that mean? It means that there was
Oh.
a double submission?
No, it's essentially there are some vendors that multiple departments across the county use. Some of them pay those vendors on their purchase cards. Some of them run it through as an invoice, and we pay it with a check. So we're trying to kind of streamline things. So if we're going to do check, we do everything in one check to that vendor instead of having multiple P card transactions to them, or vice versa.
And do you know offhand how many P cards are being used?
I don't offhand, but I think Nicole may have an idea. 45.
Thank you.
Any additional questions, Linda?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on the new report? I like to say that it's, I really appreciate this because this really was a lot of information, and I really liked, like Linda, spent a considerable amount of time looking through it. So I really appreciate the work. Thank you on that. Any other comments on that report? Okay, we'll move on. American Rescue Plan Act summary.
Okay, you have your report in the packet, so if there are any questions on that, I'm happy to answer. I just want to remind everyone that a good portion of the funds that were not spent in fiscal 22, we spent about 1.4 million in fiscal 22. We rolled the remaining of that forward to fiscal 23 because we'll be working on those projects this year as well. I wanted to make that point. Also, that next month's ARPA report will be a little bit different in view because we're going to show you everything that happened in fiscal 22, and then we're going to add fiscal 23 to it as well. So it might be a little lengthier report. I may kind of switch it up a little bit, but so if you have any suggestions before I make the change, something that you want to see, go ahead and reach out to me and let me know, and we'll make sure we want to be as transparent as we can, similar to the AP checks that you just saw. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Heather? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on. We are, I believe, at public comments. Do we have any public comments? None. Okay. Miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? No? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.